Do you remember the time I went to Spain and challenged Ivan Miranda to a 3D printed EDF rocket challenge? And the idea was we were going to make SpaceX style rockets that would fly up in the air and they'd hover and then they'd be able to land on their bottoms and be reused again. But both of them got smashed to pieces. Now, both of them were powered with EDFs, which aren't that responsive because they spin so very fast, unlike propellers on a drone that have drag. I tried to retune it, but the second time I did it, it just all fell to pieces, and we never got a chance to do it. And ever since then, I've been thinking about doing another version. But then I saw a video, or two videos, that the Hacksmith put up in his channel. He visited Richard Browning of Gravity.co, and that's the guy who's got gas turbines on his arms and on his back, and he can fly around. And now they've got several suits, and they're trying to do a Rocket Man League. So that looks pretty good, and the Hacksmith actually had a little go with limited power because they didn't have the tether system. There's two videos there, and one of them's an interview, and there's lots of technical detail. So that inspired me a bit. You can buy these rockets for about £3,000 each, so it's not totally out of reach, but it's probably quite dangerous. So I thought I'd have a go at building version 2 of my rocket, but we're going to fly it in the same way that they fly those rocket suits. So let's just imagine I've got gas turbines on my arms and one on my back. And so what they're explaining in the video is that basically to fly you have to form a tripod with the one on your back and the ones on your arms, and that's how you stay stable. And basically there's no real way of dynamically controlling one of these gas turbines because they run at 103,000 revs per minute, which is quite fast, so there's quite a lot of inertia. So basically the only way you can really control it is with thrust vectoring, which in this case means moving your arms around to try and fly. So if you put your arms up, you have less lift. As you put them down, you get more lift, and you bring your back in and you'll go up more, and as you do this you'll come down, and that's literally how they fly them. So it's down to the skill of the pilot, as well as having triggers for the power basically, and that's the only control it looks like. There's a heads-up display that tells you how much fuel you've got, which is in a bag on your back, so it doesn't slosh around presumably, but apart from that it's down to the skill of the pilot to learn. Yep, so the plan is to build a scale model. So this is going to be about 1/2 metre tall. He's going to have 4 EDFs, which are the same ones that I used in the rocket challenge with Ivan Miranda, and we'll talk about those a bit more in a moment. And essentially it's pretty much a little sort of mannequin guy. We're going to give him an Iron Man helmet because why not? But basically he's going to have servo driven arms, so that's how we're going to do thrust vectoring to move the arms that way, and also another axis to move the arm this way. So let's print out some of those parts and we'll discuss it more in detail. So there it is, so it's quite a good scale, and I've also printed the helmet, of course, that I got off Thingiverse, which will go up there somewhere. Needs a bracket, I think. So we've got the bracket on his back there where the EDFs drop in, and at the moment I've got these Hobby King EDFs, which are the same ones I used in the rocket challenge. So this is actually one of the EDFs out of my rocket, which Ivan sent back to me from Spain. A couple of them were smashed up, so I've got some more on order. This is the Hobby King 70mm EDF. It's all plastic, and it takes these Dr. Mad thrust motors. So we're going to have 4 of those, and what I really wanted was counter-rotating and normal rotating, so 2 of each, and that's why I've got 4 in the design. But I couldn't get the fans for them, so Hobby King do a counter-rotating one, but it's got 1 less blade on, so it's going to be really hard to match them. So on another website, the Robot Birds website in the UK, I actually found a different make of 70mm EDF, the Lander branded EDFs, and you can get matching normal rotating and counter-rotating blades, and they fit these EDFs perfectly. All of the hardware fits and everything. So basically I've now got 2 counter-rotating EDFs and 2 normal ones, so we can put those on each side and hopefully we don't get any recoil. So it's got 4 rotors and it's sounding quite a lot like a drone, right? Like a normal quadcopter, but the key difference of course is that actually the arms are going to move to do thrust vectoring rather than running those motor speeds differently, and we're going to try and fly it manually just like the Gravity CO guys, instead of having a flight controller that adjusts the motor speed so like it does in a drone. So that's the key difference there. We'll see how we get on. I'm trying not to have any active stability, but we'll see what happens. I'm hoping I can just fly it manually with 2 3-axis joysticks. And I think my only concern at the moment is there's no hip articulation, so it can't bend at the hips like a human can. Only benefit that would give is that the legs would hang below, and I might be able to adjust the pitch of the EDFs on the back, but we'll see how it goes with just the arms. Of course we can lean forward and hopefully we can get that sort of triangular shape so that the mass, which is the battery that hangs in the middle, is actually hanging in between those two sets of EDFs. So I've got these sort of half arms that fit inside here, and those are going to have a servo in, so let's just pop that in there. And that's going to push the full arm that sits on the outside, and that's going to have the other EDF attached. So that's going to swivel this way, and also pivot and swivel this way. So on the back of this, we're going to have another servo that fits in there, and that's what does the other axis there. So 2 servos per arm, and that's about it. There we go, so those are attached, and now we just need to put some servo levers in, sort out putting the EDFs in, all the electronics, and some spacers in here. Before we try and put any electronics in though, we need to build a remote and a receiver so we can get all those servos in the mid positions and sort out where they are before we put the levers on and all of that. So I've been thinking a lot about how I'm going to control it. Now this is the OpenDog remote, if we just power it on there. And this remote's got 2 3-axis joysticks, so these move like normal joysticks on an RC handset, but they also rotate, and that's so I can get 6 axes of control on OpenDog. So what I'm thinking about for this project is a very similar setup. Obviously we need to move the arms in 2 axis for the 2 servos each. We also need something for the throttle, but we might also need to bend at the waist, and I'm not sure if I need to add extra servos yet. So what we might end up with is 4 joysticks or 4 axis, and basically this is fine for 3 axis with the throttle, but also when you twist these and try and move them, the tendency is you tend to move them back, which is going to be quite tricky to control. So I think what I need is the 3 axis for motion, plus perhaps another axis, maybe on each joystick. So what I've come up with is an add-on piece for the top of the joystick that's going to fit on there with a clamp, and on there is a trigger. And that trigger is just made out of a linear pot and a spring that runs in a channel there. So basically, as well as the stick I can grab hold of, we've just got a slide pot that's just sat in that channel, and then we've got the actual trigger actually is attached to the channel to take the load. So that's a piece that fits in there, and that slides along and it's sprung back. So I've printed a controller base that's really similar to the OpenDog transmitter, only with no LCD, because there's nothing really I'm going to look down to see. And we've got those stick extensions on there as well as the triggers. So now I've got my 3 axis on each joystick, plus the 4th one, and I've also got 2 toggle switches as well there, which I don't know what they're going to do yet. So inside is an Arduino Mega, and that's because I need 8 analogues and there's not enough on an Uno or many other things. And we've also got a radio device, which is the NRF024 which I used in the OpenDog project to replace the Bluetooth HC05s. So that's lurking around in the corner there. That's an SPI device that will send the data over radio. And we've just got a power distribution board and a whole bunch of wires that come out to all of those switches and all of the pots. So the code for my remote is pretty simple. It's just setting up the radio there. We've got a data structure with all the switches and analog pots in, which we're sending over the radio. And basically that's called my data send. We've set up the radio. I've actually put 2 addresses on there, which is what you do if you send and receive. I'm only sending, but this is code from my early testing of these devices in the last OpenDog episode, basically, that I've copied and pasted. So I've read all the analogs and digitals there, set up the radio, and in our loop we're just reading them really. They do get written out to the serial terminal as well for diags, and then we're just sending that whole data structure off to the radio. On the other end, we're running this on an Arduino Nano that we'll have a look at in a minute. It's a very similar setup. We've got that same data structure, and then basically we're just reading that data back in and sending it out to the serial terminal. Now this is where the radio gets read. Now I am resetting a clock every time we read it, and if that clock exceeds 200 milliseconds, which means that it hasn't received data for that long, then it sets all those sticks and switches to their off positions, which means if the transmitter becomes disconnected, then the robot doesn't go flying off out of control with the last values it got. It'll actually turn all the motors off and hopefully turn all the switches off. And these are my 2 triggers which go back to 0. So my receiver is this, which is an Arduino Nano, and I'm using that because it has a 3.3 volt pin that's required to power the radio device. The other logic pins are 5 volt tolerant, so that's fine. The Arduino Pro Mini does not have a 3.3 volt pin, so there we go. So at the moment you'll see that in fact we've got no data, which is what's being said there, and all of our sticks and things are in the mid position, and that's because this isn't powered on. So let's plug this in. I'm just powering that off a USB boost adapter, so it should come up pretty quickly as soon as there's power. And then we've got the actual stick positions. Obviously some of these are flopping forward because they're heavy, but if I move these around, we can see we've got all of our data there, and we've got our 2 switches which are in the far left column. So let's have a look at that in a serial plotter. So there we can see all of our nice lines, and if I pull the triggers, We can see we've got the data for that as well. Probably need to put some filtering on because it's a bit jaggedy at the moment. But it's pretty responsive. So that should do fine for the throttle. So now I need to shoehorn the Arduino Nano and the radio receiver in somewhere, which isn't too much of a difficulty, and that's why it's so small. So I've now got the chest plate on and the helmet. So he's going to end up with a battery up his jumper, which is going to fit up there. It's not actually this battery because it's only a 10C battery, and what we really need is a much higher drain battery. So I've got a 60C on the way. That's similar to the battery I used in the rocket, so I know that should be fine. So I'm thinking about putting the controller actually in his helmet. It should be pretty safe in there unless he lands on his head. Then everything's lost anyway. And that does mean we've got some proximity to the servo wires that come round, and of course we need wires to come out to the 4 ESCs that are going to drive those 4 turbines as well. So I've now got 2 turning G-BECs which provide 6 volts at 5 amps, and there's 2 of those for each side of the robot, so we've got 4 servo connectors to plug into those servos, and that should give us enough power. So that's going to be fed from the main battery, and then that's linked to our Arduino for the servo signals with a common ground so they work, and all that's got to be packed into his helmet. But we still need to allow access so that we can get back to the Arduino to plug in some more wires so that we can control the ESCs for the actual turbines. So I've got my Arduino hanging there. It's powered from USB at the moment. It needs a really good 5 volts that never browns out, so I need to think about that. We've got our servos powered up, and we've got a temporary battery that's just powering those for now. So now I can move the arms all around. So I think this is going to be quite a lot of fun to try and fly. And at the moment, when I'm facing it from the front, then it flies in the direction I push the stick. So if I push them that way, it pulls these out, so it's going to fly that way, obviously the opposite. And if I pull the sticks towards me, it puts those back. And if I put them forward, it pushes them forwards, so it'll fly away from me. I'm not sure if that's how I want it, or if I want it so when I put my arm out, it puts its arm out on this side, and when I put my arm in, it puts it in, and so on and so on. But that's something we'll have to experiment with, what feels more natural, and how hard it is to remember that I need to put these together for starting and bring them out and back to get more thrust. But we'll see how it goes when we fly it. So that's actually all I'm going to do in this episode. We're going to come back next time and put the EDFs in, the ESCs of course, which power them. And of course we need power distribution for hundreds of amps. Those EDFs peak at 80 amps each, which actually exceeds the battery capacity, which is great as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun to fly. I'm not sure if that's going to be fun because it's fun, or fun because it smashes to pieces catastrophically. So don't forget to subscribe and like the video if you liked it, and come back next time to see the updates. A quick ad for my Patreon. Go to patreon.com/XRobots and you can support the channel, get access to some exclusive rewards, including all my videos early. Patrons have probably got this one early if it comes out next week, depending on how it goes, or whatever it is that's coming out next week. You can also get access to an exclusive live stream with me and sneak peeks and pictures of the other projects. And don't forget my merchandise store for t-shirts and various other bits and pieces. Alright, that's all for now.